Hey, all, Baruch Levi B from Soul Centered. Soul Centered is a spiritual center for meaning, purpose, and healing in the afternoon of life. And I'm here to talk to you today about finding our ground, getting grounded, finding stability amidst turbulence. When our circumstances, our personal circumstances, the world's circumstances, things that are happening out in the world, when they're fluctuating, certainly when they're down, when times are difficult, we need to get grounded. We need to feel secure. How do we do that in a world right now that for many of us has never felt so insecure? I mean, I don't have to tell you about all of the insecurity in the world right now. This is the end of a very turbulent week in the stock market. It's just one example of the turbulence out there. I know many of you follow the stock market, as do I, as my wealth is tied up in it. Many of you have your 401ks and whatnot. And it's a big deal when the stock market performs or doesn't perform, underperforms as it's done this week. A very rough road. And I teach people how to navigate the turmoil and to transform the turmoil into opportunity, because there's always opportunity. There's always possibilities, always meaning, no matter what we are facing. But we teach what we most need to learn. When I was kind of grappling with it this week, I turned to one of my gurus, my teachers, and my good friend, Michael Feiner. If you don't know Michael, he owns and operates Feiner Wealth Management. Great man, great friend, and great guide. And he reminded me that, was it the saying, in times like these, there have always been times like these. This is part of the stock market. It has to go through the peaks and through the valleys, constantly ascending. But there are times when it descends, and we have to ride those things out. And we were talking about, well, how do you ride those things out? And we both came up together. You gotta keep your eye on the horizon. You've got to be looking beyond your feet. If you're looking at your feet, you're going to stumble. When the turbulence is there, when the chaos out in the world feels overwhelming, if you're just looking around you, if you're just looking at the variables, you're going to trip. You're going to feel overwhelmed. I certainly do when I check my investments too often during turbulent times. And what he reminded me of is the long game, the long haul, the horizon. Find a point in the distance that's something that is static, that does not move. And this is what I teach people in the afternoon of life. All kinds of life's T's, as I call them, transitions and tests and trials and traumas and tragedies. No matter what we are facing, we can get through it if we have clarity. And how do you get clear? By finding something that is fixed, something that is immovable, that is certain and secure, an anchor, a stepping stone. That's all you need to get through hell. That's all you need to get through turbulent times, is one thing that is absolutely rock solid in your life. What is that rock solid thing in your life? It certainly can be a person that you turn to, that you go to, like for me and finance and my friend Michael. It can be a mentor. It can be somebody whom you've never met, right? I turn to various books during turbulent times. It can be to your Messiah, to your guru, to whomever. It can be a value. For me, everybody values, but to me, truth is like oxygen. I grew up in a world in many ways where I wasn't so clear about the truth. My father struggled in some ways with the truth. Good man, but left this world prematurely, I think, because he didn't find his footing, find his grounding. And so for me, I go to truth and I start asking myself, what is true? What is real? What is true doesn't change by definition. That's what truth is. It's interesting, in the Hebrew, the word for truth, Aleph Mem Taf, if you know Hebrew, is the first letter of the alphabet, the middle letter of the alphabet, and the last letter of the alphabet. It spells emet, which means truth. And that's because truth is solid, beginning, middle, end. Interestingly, each one of those letters in that word emet has multiple legs to stand on. Lots of vowels in the Hebrew alphabet has one leg. Each one of those has two legs, or kind of a base, because truth is solid. What is true? to you, turning to core values, turning to core people, turning to our core purpose. And that's where I'll end with this. We have to have a core purpose, a defining purpose, a why. Right? My teacher, Dr. Viktor Frankl, author of Man's Search for Meaning, founder of logotherapy, which I'm a practitioner of. Logotherapy is meaning-centered psychotherapy. Dr. Frankl, quoting Nietzsche, talks a lot about he or she who has a big enough why can endure any how. The how of the stock market and the social turbulence and the elections and all of that is changing. And we don't know how we're going to get through it. We don't know what it's going to look like. The what's and the how's and the who's and the when's, they fluctuate. But you know what doesn't fluctuate or shouldn't fluctuate? Your why. If you have a big enough why, if you have a clear why am I in the stock market? What are my values in that market? Why am I, involved politically? What are my values politically? Whoever wins, whoever loses, yeah, it'll be a setback to you, but keep your eye on that horizon. Keep your thoughts and your focus on your why. The challenge, this is the challenge. Most people I know, successful people, uber successful people, so successful in business, in their professions, excuse me, lawyers and doctors, good parents and successful citizens, they know their why. Business people know their why. It's the mission statement. And then when I say to them, so what's your why? They don't know. They haven't thought about it. Maybe you haven't thought about it. That's okay. But now you're thinking about it. Right? Simon Sinek, great book. Start with Why. Talks about great businesses like great people. Don't tell you what they do or how they do it. They tell you why they do it. They know their why. What is your why? If you don't know it, stay tuned. I'm going to talk about it in one of these upcoming videos. I'm also going to be putting out some tools to help you find and write your why. But the bottom line is, during turbulent times, during life's tease of transitions and trials and traumas and tragedies, when circumstances are in flux and variables of all kinds are bombarding you, find something immovable. Find your truth. Find your core values. Find a mentor, somebody to guide you, but most of all, know and find and articulate your why. He or she who has a big enough why that they know, that they can articulate, that they can turn to during turbulent times, will endure. You will endure any and every who, what, where, when, and how. Until the next time, I'm Baruch, or B. You can get a hold of me at info@mysoulcentered.org, centered.org. Or you can go to Soul Centered, or you can just Google Rabbi B. I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to talk to you. I'd love to work with you. So give me a shout and take care. Salam, shalom, namaste. Peace.